This podcast is for fellow little sisters,
only children who wish they had a little sister,
older siblings who miss their little sisters.
We're just your little sisters. Unhinged,
unpaid,
unstoppable.
Little sisters, big opinions. Let's go.
Hey everyone, this is Ashley,
Shelly,
and Tori.
Welcome to the Little Sisters Big Opinions podcast. Welcome back, everyone. Thank you for joining us today. So we're going to start off with something that I really just need to get off my chest. It has nothing to do with anything else that we're going to talk about in this episode.
It's simply a big opinion.
Exactly. So recently, we went to a Fleetwood Mac tribute band performance. I'll start saying this. You get there early. You can get to the front area where the stage is. That's well and good.
That was me.
Yep, that was you. That's well and good. That's fine.
It was a good spot.
It was a good spot. It was near the bar. Good spot.
Yeah.
But there were people who either left where they were standing or showed up late, who mid-performance began to push their way to the front of the audience. And when I say push me out of the way, which is just, please don't invade my personal space.
Yeah.
And I wanted to yell at the top of my lungs, this is a tribute band. Stevie Nicks is not up there.
Yeah.
Okay? Why are we pushing and shoving to get to the front? It makes no sense.
Yeah.
Yeah. I get what you're saying. They were very good.
They were good.
Pushed to the front.
But it's not like you need to see.
No.
It's just like, it wasn't worth the push.
No.
You know what I mean?
My little party trick to keep them out of the way is I would also dance.
Yes, that was great. That was actually great.
Once I start dancing, they're not invading my space. Because I was at the gate. I'm like, you're not going to stand in front of me. So
right.
I just started dancing and then they backed off.
So yes, that was actually a great move.
Thank you.
Shelly raised her hands in the air and just started doing, you looked kind of like the little blown up thing at the car wash. And you just started going for it. And
people wouldn't get near me.
Oh, people straight up left the area.
Yeah.
Wow. Yep.
I know how to clear a room.
Oh, yeah. More ways than one.
Yeah.
But, yeah. Yeah. And it wasn't like you weren't, it wasn't like you were being that person the whole time. It was just when people like literally pushed into us.
Yeah.
You just started doing that.
Exactly.
And then they moved. And it was like, good, get out of here. You weren't
what
here
I was doing.
before, leave. Okay, that's it. That's all I have to say about that. Now we're going to go into embarrassing childhood stories, or even just, funny childhood stories. Is it even completely childhood? Is yours? Now I'm thinking about yours. Michelle, is yours a childhood?
No, mine was about a year ago.
Okay. So embarrassing, just in general.
Can we tell Victoria's from childhood? That's my favorite.
Oh, yeah. So I've always had the splits down, let's just say.
Yeah.
I don't know where it came from. I used to do gymnastics. Like right now, it would probably pull something if I just like went into a split, but I could still do it. But if I like give it a couple days, I can get my split back. So Michelle had seen me do a split, but there were some other people around. So I was
young.
Yeah. So I was like, oh, this is great. Everybody's watching. There were 2 twin beds, and I was like, I'm going to do a split in between the 2 twin beds. Was it like a front split or a side? You know what I mean?
It was
like,
in the middle, but like you were like, I can do even more than a
I was going to like overextend.
Yeah, overextend.
And my pants stopped me from doing that.
Yeah, it was like she was doing the splits for everybody, and then you just heard like a big tear.
Oh, I loved those pants. I just remembered. They were like blue pajama pants and like they had a drawstring. But you know when pants have a drawstring and there's nothing to draw? Like it's just there for like show. Like,
yeah.
It doesn't tighten.
I hate that.
Yeah, like fake, whatever. Still loved them. But it was those ones. So I was so sad. But yeah,
they were ripped like the full way through.
Right around.
She just like kept wearing them the whole weekend.
I did.
It was all she packed. I can still picture it to this day.
Well, because as I was doing the split, like the beds were also splitting apart.
Yeah, the beds were like moving apart.
Because they used to be together.
In the story I have, I'll admit I don't embarrass easily. I'm pretty confident in what I do. I'm not. I
Yeah,
don't get
who you
embarrassed.
are.
But this was a moment that I don't know. I couldn't control. So, if you know me, you know I have a bidet. I live by it.
Didn't know that.
No, really?
Upstairs bathroom?
The upstairs bathroom. I will never
I guess I don't know you at all.
Whoa. That's like a staple for me. I need a bidet.
Wow.
Um,
They are nice.
yeah. And as we all know, I have IBS, so a
Yeah.
bidet comes in handy.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
So this was recently after we installed the bidet. It just wasn't working. So I was about to leave. We were going to go shopping. I'm like, hold on a minute. The bidet wasn't working. So as I'm turning it on, I decided to look into the toilet bowl, like look down and like still pushing the little hose. And then all of a sudden, all the water squirts me like square in the face as I'm peeking down to it to see why it's not working. So then I couldn't find like the off button. So like it's literally spraying me all over my face. I'm soaked and I couldn't find the off button. I eventually get it off. Then I just had to shower.
How did it keep hitting your face?
It was
when
all,
it was
I don't even
like,
know.
you just continued to look at it.
Yeah, it was mostly in my hair. So it wasn't in my face, but just on my head.
So I asked my sisters for an embarrassing story, and I said, "Oh, or maybe just a funny whatever." They responded with far too many things.
Oh.
Blew up the group
And it
chat.
was basically like this. Actually, will lead us into our next segment a bit, but there's basically words that I say that aren't real, which I think I admitted to already in an earlier episode. One of the words was, so like in the front, and this can be on anything, but I was specifically, when I said it, was talking about on a Jeep. You can have that like cord that you can pull out from the front. You can add it, a feature, add it, and like wrap it around, maybe a tree if you get stuck, pull yourself out. So it's and now I'm probably gonna say it wrong. It's a winch. It's a winch.
Okay.
And I used to call it a wench.
Oh.
It's slightly different.
A wench. Isn't that what you call someone that's just like...
Yeah. Yeah.
Louis
What's the
and-
definition of wench? There's two definitions: a girl or a young woman, or a prostitute. So,
Oh.
but yeah, I used to call futons.
Okay.
I used to and this is genuine, and it's so sad, and I have to consciously now when I say it think about it so that I do not say it. I used to call pretzels with an N.
Oh,
Pretzels.
Yeah, I don't know why.
Huh.
Then when my husband and I were dating, I was with my sister Allison. He texted me and said ETA, and I looked at my sister and I was like, he just texted me and said ETA, and she's like, what? And she's like, ETA. I'm like, what is that? She's like, estimated time of arrival.
Oh.
I'd never used it before. I'd never heard of it.
Yeah.
One of them texted about me and my brother-in-law dancing one time at Home Depot. For my sister's not public or anything on Instagram, but for a private video, I'd say it kind of went viral.
Yeah.
We were testing out in Home Depot. They have a section where you can test out lights and stuff.
Yeah.
We were testing out a bathroom fan that could play music.
Oh.
And so I pressed the button and both of us just start like dancing our hearts out to this like fake music that's coming out of this fan.
It's like elevator music.
Yes, honestly.
that.
I need to see that.
My other Allison responded to me and said, honestly, your early Instagram days were like just
but that's for
and,
everybody.
Yeah, and I think everyone, if you go back prior to honestly 2018, you're probably embarrassing yourself.
Yeah.
Ooh, I have a question.
Yes.
Do you guys just really quick, because you're talking about Instagram, like the old filters, were you more of a sepia or a black and white?
Sepia.
What about you?
Yeah.
Black and white.
You were
Really? That's classy.
Yeah.
You're a classy girl.
Anyways,
Yeah.
back to, I just had to ask that.
No, yeah. Then Allison also just sends me a picture of Chad Michael Murray. It says, this delusion. So she and I will get into actual fights about this. So when I was probably, what grade was that? Had to be, pretty sure it was either third or fourth grade. What age would I have been?
Probably
So bad
9
with
or
ages.
10.
Okay, 9 or 10.
Hold on, can I ask, is it him with longer hair or shorter?
Shorter.
Okay.
Yeah.
Not like in Freaky Friday. with
No.
that haircut. Okay.
Him fresh out of One Tree Hill.
Okay. Yes.
Okay. Love of
Right.
my
Yeah.
love of my life. Love of my life. And
Wow. Wait. One Tree Hill, you were a Lucas girl, not a Nathan girl.
absolutely
What?
love of my life.
We're both Nathan girls, right?
Yes.
Okay.
Wait, you two are Nathan girls?
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Wow. No.
Run it, P.
Love of my life.
No.
Yep.
Ashley,
Yep.
this changes my view
So in,
of you.
I think it was third grade,
Someone had to be a Lucas girl.
I had to carry around this big bag of sugar, like big bags you get at the store. Wrap it in like not duct tape, but like masking tape. I think that's what I want to say.
Yep.
You drew a little face on it,
Oh.
and we had sugar babies, and we had to carry around these sugar babies.
I thought they were flour.
No, mine was sugar.
Oh.
It was my sugar baby.
So much worse. Little ants could just be like,
I know.
Yeah. It was my sugar baby. And we had to make a fake birth certificate. Chad Michael Murray was my baby's daddy.
Obviously.
Obviously.
oh.
Yep. Chad Michael Murray was the father of my sugar babies.
Wow.
And yeah, she and I will get in, till this day, into fights about who loved him more. And it was definitely me. And it truly wasn't even like a Lucas thing. Like, I love Chad Michael
I was like,
Murray.
I like Chad Michael Murray more than I like Lucas.
Sure.
Me too.
But yeah, those were more so not embarrassing stories, but I guess I would just embarrass myself with not knowing the English language. Okay. So let's head into our next segment, which is misunderstood song lyrics. The Misunderstood Song Lyric Hall of Fame.
Rachel, who we met last week, thought a song by Post Malone said that he left his shawl in a cop car.
Which she could. Post Malone probably does wear shawls. So.
Yeah.
It wouldn't be
That's
shocking.
fair.
Yep.
Every Time You Go Away by Paul Young. The lyric is, every time, I think it's something like, every time you leave, you take a piece of me with you. My sister thought it was, every time you leave, you take a piece of meat with you.
Oh.
And she said she used to actually visualize, like, why is this woman going into his fridge and taking his hamburgers?
I'd believe it.
Yeah.
Deli meat, I pictured.
Yeah. Then The Boys Are Back in Town by the Thin Lizzies. Yeah. Yeah, that's great. Allison thought it was, instead of The Boys Are Back in Town, The Boys Are Speckin' Town.
Oh, they could.
Like Speckin' was a place.
Speck and Beckon.
Yep.
The boy, yeah.
Boys Are Speckin' Town. Also, I Want to Be Your Man by Roger. I don't expect you two to know this, so you don't have to pretend. There's a lyric. Oh, and it's kind of like a robot is kind of singing it. It's auto-tuned. Oh, I want to be your man. Allison thought it was, oh, I want a B and an A. Like, give me a B. Give me an A.
Give me a B.
And then finally, my other sister, Old Town Road by Lil Nas X. He says, I'm going to take my horse to the Old Town Road. And she thought it was, I'm going to take my horse to the hotel room.
Oh, yeah, me too. I used to think that. Yeah.
Why don't you sing that for us?
I'm gonna take my horse to the old town road. I'm gonna. Got the horses in the
I
back.
also got
Horse side is attached. Head is matted black. Got the boosters black to match. Riding on a horse. You can bring your Porsche.
You were singing that from memory.
Oh, yeah.
Wow.
I also got one from Van Halen. The song Panama, Cannonball instead of Panama the whole time.
Okay.
Yeah.
I actually used to say this to you, Michelle. Remember that time, the song by Creedence Clearwater, Have You Ever Seen the Rain?
Yes.
And I would be like, have you ever seen Lorraine?
Yeah.
But I remember one time specifically, we were in my dad's car when we were younger, and I was saying the rain, but it was raining outside while that song was playing. And I kept saying it to you even after the song was done. And at one point, you got so annoyed. And I thought it was so funny. I was just like, have you ever seen the rain? And you were like,
I do.
I have.
I remember that so clearly. We were both in the back seat like we were young, and you just kept singing it and singing it. I was like, okay.
It's like, I really got her with this one.
Yeah.
No, because you kept laughing. So I pretty much said it until you didn't laugh anymore.
That's so funny because I feel like there's things as kids where you're like, I can like specifically remember being a kid and thinking I had like a funny joke or almost like sometimes like a funny adult joke.
Oh, yeah.
Nothing bad, just like, oh, the adults will think this is funny. And it just like people rolling their eyes at you.
Yeah.
There's no worse pain.
No, but as a kid, you're like, well, I thought that was funny.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
and then if they don't laugh, you're like, they're lost.
Yeah.
There was one more for songs. I feel like a lot of people thought this one for Blank Space by Taylor Swift when it was like, got a long list of ex-lovers, but everyone thought it said, got a lot of Starbucks lovers. I thought it said, gotta love the Starbucks lovers. They'll tell you I'm insane. I don't
Yeah.
Yeah.
It
It just sounds like that. Yeah.
Okay.
Are we saying a question from a listener?
Oh,
We were asked.
you just really put us on the spot there.
Does anyone have any more?
No.
Not for songs, no.
A question from a listener. Are building Lego sets actually still cool to build, or is it weird?
So this is my opinion on it. I was never into building Lego sets as a child or now. So yeah, I can't say that I think it's weird or not, but I personally feel like it is a brain engaging activity.
Yeah.
To
To me, it's like a puzzle.
yeah,
If you take up a puzzle, it's not shocking that people take up Lego sets.
right? Sure, yeah. So if you were into that before,
Yeah.
and you're still into that now, that
I did
makes
it
sense
as a
to me.
kid.
Okay,
I also did puzzles as a kid. I don't
Yeah.
do either now.
Yeah.
okay.
But where do we draw the line?
So I don't necessarily draw the line anywhere with it, but I think that they sell the ones like at the stores in the kits where you can make like the flowers or like certain things. And I feel like for a while that was so trendy where everybody was doing it.
Yeah.
And whenever something is trending, I'm either all for it or I, out of spite of it being a trend, completely avoid it. And I'm like, I will not do this because everyone's obsessed with it right now. And I'm not like falling into this. But I feel like now I would. Like now that it's not as much of like a fad.
This is where I draw the line.
I'm with you.
Come at me if you want. It should not be displayed around your house as if it's like art.
Exactly. Keep it as a hobby,
You can-
not as art.
You can even keep it in a certain room, in a game
Have
room
a show
or a
room.
TV room, something. But when people just have it like out on the table or on the shelves, and I'm not talking about if you have like children and you have out their Legos.
Because a lot of kids are into Legos.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
different. I'm
Completely
talking about
different.
if it's a adult only household
Mm.
and you have
Replacing all the flowers with Lego
Yeah.
flowers.
right or yeah, you
Instead
have
of artwork on the walls, there's Legos.
right.
No.
Or you have
Hanging.
yeah. Anyway,
Yeah.
that's how I feel. This podcast is called Little Sisters Big Opinions.
Yeah.
That's my opinion. If you feel differently, you do you. You live your own life.
Yeah.
That is
Yeah.
perfect.
But I'm with you there. I don't
fine.
like them on display.
Yeah.
Like a scene of some sort.
right. Yeah.
Okay, I have to
don't
say
like
something
that.
else though. Lego sets, certain ones take a lot to build. So I do kind of agree with like, because it's such an accomplishment sometimes by the end of it, like putting it out on display for a little bit. I don't think I would keep it as like a permanent display, but like being proud of it, I think I'd keep it on my kitchen table or like wherever I did it for like a good week.
And there's also like, for instance, my sister at her house, someone made a little one of her dog. That's out. That makes
Oh, yeah.
sense. I'm talking about people having like 4 or 5 big old Lego things.
Yeah.
now.
Something
Yeah.
Star Wars. That's what I'm
Yes.
picturing.
Okay, so big opinion going into the Star Wars. I have no interest in any of the Star Wars movies, and I never have, and I've never seen them, I don't think.
Me too. I saw one Star Wars movie, and that was it.
I
Yeah.
know, yeah, because this is actually an embarrassing moment for Michelle that I feel the need to tell.
Okay.
Your mother was extremely disappointed in you.
Yeah.
She almost, I think, told you to move out.
Yeah.
We were playing this game,
It wasn't even fun.
and no, it was. It was honestly hard.
Yeah.
Oh, the one.
Yeah,
That we
It's
all
like
play.
trivia for specific generations.
right. So it was like, what speed did the DeLorean need to go? Michelle looks up and goes, "Oh, I don't know this one. I never watched Star Wars."
Without skipping a
Yeah, didn't blink. And it wasn't until we were all like, "What are you
Yeah.
talking about?" And your mother was like, "How
I thought my
dare you?"
disown me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That we explained that was
because
not Star Wars.
In my mind, it sounded like Mandalorian.
Which leaves Star Wars for a whole nother day because there's so many layers to that.
Yeah.
Because
I just have no interest.
Layers that I'm not aware of.
I just don't care.
I like Star Wars. We were a big Star Wars / Star Trek family.
Okay.
Loved watching it. There's a place and a time and a balance. People have really gotten passionate about the new Star Wars, like how they're written, what they're about. I will agree, watching some of the older movies and watching some of the newer movies, you're like, that just doesn't make sense. You know what I mean?
Okay.
Like, that doesn't make sense that happened or whatever. Sure, it doesn't. I get that. But at the end of the day, they're just movies. This is not real life. And there was someone I know who got so passionate about it, made a whole Instagram post about it.
Oh.
And I was just like
On their personal Instagram.
yeah. And I was just
Wow.
like, that's not necessary for all that.
That's a lot.
Like, I like
Yeah.
Star Wars, like I said, like Star Trek. We've seen every movie,
Yeah.
seen it all, but I don't never get into a debate about it.
Well, also too, I feel like maybe the people that follow them are kind of into that, but I also feel like the majority of the people that followed that person probably had no idea what they were even talking about. So it's like, I feel like when you
Sure.
post something
Right.
kind of ranty or on Instagram, you kind of would, and you're posting it to your followers, you kind of would assume that most people would at least know what you're talking about.
Right.
But it's they probably didn't. So many people probably just what?
Right.
Yeah.
And it's one thing if you're like you said, with a group of friends who also are interested and you guys want to talk about it.
Yeah.
That's totally different. That's just shared interest. Having a conversation. But this was a very
That's what group
passionate.
chats are for.
Dare I say they expressed a feeling of betrayal
Oh.
Wow.
about how these new movies were done.
They were like, I'm going to be off the internet for a while.
Right. Yeah.
Don't call me.
Yeah, I just don't care about Star Wars.
Yeah, that's
I like
fair.
Star Wars Land and Disney, but that's
Ooh, that's fun. All right, everyone. That's it for this episode, and we'll see you next week.
bye.
Peace.
Bye-bye.
Little Sisters, Big Opinions, the podcast of stories, chaos, and spilling the tea, because no one's safe when you're the last of 3.